Tonight, a brutal attack that was likely a case of mistaken identity has left a Saskatoon man in critical condition. Also, Planned Parenthood Regina asks for patience as it struggles to find a new location. Plus, as COVID-19 cases rise in other countries due to new variants, we check in with a virologist about the future of vaccines.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, June 29th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. A 55-year-old Saskatoon man is in critical condition after a horrific attack inside Royal University Hospital. Police say it was likely a case of mistaken identity, that Randy Beauchesne was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Regina reports.
I just love him so much. I don't want to see this happen to anybody.
Dania Beauchesne has been in shock ever since her father was attacked. It happened in the cafeteria at Royal University Hospital on the night of June 13. Randy Beauchesne was at the hospital with his daughter to help her get treatment for anxiety. Dania didn't see the attack, but says a man came up behind her father in the cafeteria and drove a screwdriver through his skull, penetrating his frontal lobe. Court documents don't confirm the weapon, but do show a man has been charged with attempted murder. Randy, a 55-year-old two-time cancer survivor, is in ICU in critical but stable condition. He has little to no feeling on his left side, and the severity of the brain damage is still unclear.
It's really hard to decipher what he's saying half the time. Some words are clearer than others, but now today, he can barely even talk.
39-year-old Kevin Wichican, who's facing the attempted murder charge, has been remanded in custody until a bail hearing next week. In a statement to CBC, Saskatoon police said they believe this is likely a case of mistaken identity. That would mean Randy wasn't the intended victim.
To have this happen is rather unexpected. It doesn't deserve to happen to anyone.
Police won't comment further since the matter is now before the courts.
This doesn't deserve to happen to anybody, but my dad's a really good guy. If he saw that you were in trouble, he would do his best to want to take care of you and make sure that you were okay.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority says related to this incident, there doesn't seem to be more safety concerns for visitors or patients at RUH. A GoFundMe page has been set up for Randy Beauchesne to help with medical expenses and future bills. Regina, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Regina police are looking for information after the discovery of a person's body. It happened here in the 1200 block of Ray Street this morning. Police were called out just before 2:30 a.m. They then requested the help of the Forensic Identification Unit and the coroner. There are no details on how this person may have died. Anyone with possible information is asked to reach out to Regina Police. The Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Authority has launched an independent audit of its cybersecurity. Its system was hacked Christmas Day last year, and now experts say it's worse than originally thought. The SLGA issued a news release today saying personal information of clients may have been accessed, and that would include people who bought liquor or cannabis permits or gaming registrations. The cybersecurity experts have found evidence of clients' information on the dark web. A CBC News investigation first reported details of this hack back in April. SLGA informed employees, but not clients. The audit is expected to be finished in the next few months. There's some severe weather happening in the province right now, and our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, is here with an update. Ethan, what is going on?
Well, we do have tornado warnings in effect, Sam. First, we'll take a look at the broad picture. Some storms in the southwest, which are now starting to die off. Some non-severe cells popping up south of Regina as well. But the most severe of the cells are north of the city right now. Tornado warning now on this cell, which is crossing the number 6 highway between Raymore and Southie, and it's headed toward Last Mountain. And then just east of there, we have a cell that's moving moving through Kenora at this point. So if you're in Kenora, there is a tornado warning in effect for the town, and you should take shelter there. That system is heading off to the east toward Good Spirit Lake and eventually toward the Manitoba border. If you're in the path of the storm, take shelter in the lowest floor of your home, away from exterior doors and windows. Also, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now, and a tornado watch now posted for the eastern portion of the province. And Sam, I'll have more coming up a little later, including some video of a tornado that touched down earlier today near Manitou Lake.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Planned Parenthood Regina has been without a location since early May, and it's having trouble finding a new one. Laura Sharpaletti has more on what that means for the organization and the community.
Risa Payent was made executive director of Planned Parenthood Regina in March, and just a month later, the organization received an eviction notice. Payent had to lay off employees due to a lack of location and start hunting for a new home base for Planned Parenthood. But it hasn't been easy.
We've unfortunately had some landlords who weren't willing to work with us because of use, so rejected on the basis of use, which I think speaks to some of the stigma around the work that we do in sexual health here in our province. And additionally, costs are rising, our funding is pretty stagnant, so we're trying to make sure that we're finding a space that's a good fit, but one that we can actually sustain in the long term.
Payette says many people have misconceptions around their services. For example, Planned Parenthood does not offer surgical abortions. Right now, the organization can only offer services over the phone. That includes consultation on sexually transmitted infections and contraceptives. But the lack of a physical location has left some gaps.
I think the biggest thing is really the sales of the birth control, especially for young people. We were selling birth control at cost, which is significantly reduced from what you would get at most pharmacies. So if you're someone, especially a youth, who doesn't have access to benefits and coverage, drug prescription coverage, then they were really counting on that.
Planned Parenthood's office closure has directly affected students at the University of Regina. It used to offer free sexual health clinics to students once a month with a nurse practitioner on hand.
Students did not need to have a Sask healthcare card number in order to access the services. And so we found that a lot of international students who hadn't yet gotten their healthcare card were able to access the services.
But right now, these clinics are not available for students in need. Meanwhile, Payette says the reason why Planned Parenthood has not been able to find a new home is because many locations are out of their price range. She says more funding from the provincial government would be helpful. In a statement to the CBC, the Ministry of Health said, "We thank Planned Parenthood for their ongoing work to support Saskatchewan residents. Health funding must be balanced within the context of the many competing priorities for healthcare dollars. Any funding requests would be considered as part of the annual budget process."
We are okay. We're going to be okay. I have every faith that we will be back and serving folks as soon as we possibly can. What we really need is support and patience, and for folks to just believe in us a little bit.
Planned Parenthood says financial donations from the community would help. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
A big funding announcement in Saskatoon this morning. The federal government is lending a financial hand to 11 Saskatchewan businesses. The federal minister for Prairies Can announced nearly $26 million in the form of interest-free repayable loans. 4 companies will see the lion's share of that money, totaling more than $17 million. It will benefit companies in the areas of agriculture and food production, technology, advanced manufacturing, and health and safety. The CEO and founder of Coconut Software says the $5 million they will receive will help with recruitment.
Coconut's having to compete with some of the really big tech companies in Canada, and so this is going to help us be able to pay what is in market, which has gone through the roof recently, and really compete to get those, either it's the grads that are coming out or some of those special skilled staff that we're looking for.
This is the sort of thing that that government needs to do more of, is help emerging, talented businesses with talented people behind them create jobs. And we've gone through a very difficult couple of years, but this is a recovery plan and something where I think we need to do more of it. It's win-win-win.
The money is coming from the Business Scale-Up and Productivity Program and the Jobs and Growth Fund. The federal government expects the total investment to lead to the creation of more than 500 jobs. The provincial government will release its last weekly COVID-19 report tomorrow. After that, it will only provide data about hospitalizations and deaths once a month. At the same time, booster doses have largely stalled in our province. With all the virus mutations, we asked a Saskatoon virologist, are the current vaccines effective against new variants?
I think looking at what we call neutralization assays, so how antibodies are effective against stopping the virus from infecting cells. We look at those in people who've been vaccinated against the new Omicron subvariants, BA4 and BA5. They don't seem to be as effective. And this is why we see vaccine companies coming out with these bivalent vaccines, so that include the original SARS-CoV-2 plus one of the variants to have a broader protection. This might work seasonally, but what we really want to see are vaccines coming out that can protect against multiple variants at once and what could be the next variant that we don't know of yet. What we've learned is you don't know what's going to happen with this virus. If we look at patterns of seasonal respiratory viruses, which SARS-CoV-2 isn't quite, you would expect lower case numbers in the summer and then this to increase as we move into the fall and winter. With mutations though and new variants of SARS-CoV-2, I think we could expect the unexpected, which is why we're continuing to work on SARS-CoV-2 and develop a vaccine that can protect against multiple different types or variants of SARS-CoV-2 at the same time.
For the second straight year, the Riders will be without one of their main receiving targets for a good portion of the season. Shaq Evans' ankle injury will keep him out of the lineup for up to 2 months. That puts most of the receiving pressure on number 5, Duke Williams. In only his second season as a Rider, he already has an amazing collection of highlight reel catches. That includes 2 last week in Montreal. Williams had more than 100 yards receiving in a losing effort, but he feels, by his standards, he didn't play very well. He promises a show in front of the home crowd this weekend.
At the end of the day, there were good catches, but that's not the type of game that I played a bad game. So this week I gotta continue to get better. Last week, that wasn't me. You know, I made good catches, yes, but I know how I can play and I know how I can compete, and I didn't compete how I was supposed to, so this week is gonna be a different story.
They know we can play better. But I also don't like to make excuses, and a short week is reality. Every team has them, and some teams play better after a short week than others. We didn't play very well.
Yeah, I got a lot on my chest right now, and they got to see that, and I'm going to let it all out by letting it out here at practice this week, and come Saturday, I'm going to bring that dog out. Everybody ain't dogs, but I'm one of them.
Duke and the Riders host the Alouettes this Saturday. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. A nice bird's eye view of the drive into downtown Regina from East Arcola Avenue this morning. It's still clear in some parts of the province right now, but some areas are dealing with thunderstorms at this hour, while others are under severe thunderstorm watches. There's tornado watches as well. Ethan will have more details for you after the break. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. The exclusive export event is back.
You know, it started out so nice and it has escalated so much in the last 2 hours. Poor weather specialist Ethan Williams has been very busy. He joins us now with an update on that forecast. And Ethan, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. And like you say, just in the past couple hours here, things really taking off. But can't say we weren't warned, because we did know that this was coming. Now, we do have some video. This was a landspout tornado out near Manitou Beach earlier this afternoon, taken by Douglas out there. Folks quickly packing their things and getting out of here as fast as they can. Here's another angle of it. Look at that incredible motion that tornado is producing. You'll see him zoom out there and you can see it as people are quickly getting away from the beach. That tornado also passing by nearby Watrous and Leslie, taking taking a shot of it as it passed by as well. Also reports of that same system producing a tornado near Foam Lake as it passed through a little earlier this afternoon. Now, that storm is no longer tornado warned, but we have numerous cells. In the southwest, it looks like things are starting to die down a little bit, but we do have some cells popping up south of Regina, and really it's in that southeastern kind of parkland region where things are really picking up. One tornado warning remains, and this is for this cell that has just crossed the number 6 highway between Raymore and Southey, just north of Regina. And in addition to a tornado, there's some pretty sizable hail that could be part of this and some heavy rain, strong winds. And we are going to head down just south of Regina. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped up now on this cell, or this kind of collection of cells just south of town. It's moving east, so Regina, you're probably in the clear for now from this system, but if you're in Francis or kind of along the Highway 33 corridor southeast of Regina, just a heads up. Much of southern Saskatchewan in a severe thunderstorm watch this evening, and we do have a tornado watch that is now in effect for the Yorkton, Melville and Kamsack, Kenora areas. That threat is likely going to die off as we get into late tonight and probably past midnight or so. We will still see showers and thunderstorms, could see them nocturnal overnight, but then we do clear out tomorrow. And as we go through the day on Friday, we are looking pretty good for the holiday Friday. Possible showers in the central and northern Churchill region part of the province, but for much of us, I think Friday is going to be a pretty nice day. For tomorrow, the severe threat pretty much drops off. There's just a non-severe risk in the southwest corner all the way up to around Swift Current, but nothing likely that we have seen today. Wind gusts will be pretty strong as we head into tomorrow. They'll be light overnight, but tomorrow afternoon we could see them gust between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour, strongest in the northern part of the province. And then for the holiday Friday, we get some sunshine, we get some nice temperatures, and it looks like winds are going to behave themselves as well. Next 7 days in Regina, tomorrow we will see those breezy conditions with cooler temperatures. That cold front now has passed through the province by the time we get to tomorrow, and we'll see a little bit below average temperatures. Canada Day, a nice day in Regina. Some thunderstorms possible on Saturday and a little cooler on Sunday, but we start to warm up as we head into next week. Saskatoon, you're looking at a pretty similar forecast tomorrow. Some rain could dampen the parade on Friday, but that's only a 40% chance there, and then drying out and warming up as we head into start July. And you know, with the weather looking pretty decent for Canada Day, if you are in Regina, you can stop by Government House for its Canada Day Multicultural celebration. And it's the first time since the pandemic that it has been held in person. I caught up with Carolyn Spears from the Lieutenant Governor's office to find out what's going on.
We're so excited to be back again and inviting people to an in-person event outside. And for Lieutenant Governor Russ Morasti and Donna Morasti, it's their first Canada Day celebration, so they're really looking forward to hosting people. They'll be here all afternoon to meet people, and we certainly welcome people to come and meet them. Right at 1 o'clock, we hope people will join us right on at the start for the Awakening of the Lions. It's the Chinese lion dance will be on stage. Following that performance, we have the Eagle Claw powwow dancers. We also have some wonderful jiggers from the Métis tradition coming all the way down from Pelican Narrows. And we have the Yevshan Ukrainian Ballet Ensemble are joining us from Saskatoon this year. And then our headliner musician is Carnell. He's an amazing Canadian fiddler from Saskatchewan. He's coming back home to perform for us.
And you have some dogs as well.
We do. Chaos Dog Sports is an ongoing feature of our Canada Day celebration. We're so glad they're going to be back. These are family pets that perform wonderful tricks, and they even invite kids to come out and race the dogs.
Exciting stuff. And this is, of course, the year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. What does Government House have planned for that?
Yes, to mark the 70th anniversary of the Queen's time as Queen of Canada, we have a beautiful portrait. It was unveiled by Her Majesty at Buckingham Palace in 2012, and it's on loan to us to Government House in Regina from Rideau Hall. So that can be seen inside, and if people visit the portrait, they can get a Platinum Jubilee lapel pin. These are in fairly short supply, so we have some for guests. And then we also have a feature Platinum Jubilee exhibit indoors that people get to see.
And as Carolyn mentioned, Sam, it starts at 1 o'clock on Friday at Government House in Regina, runs until 4 o'clock. Those dogs, it's incredible how fast they run. I know dogs got a lot of energy, but those are something else.
But did you race them? She said you can race them.
That's true. I got to put my running shoes on and get some stretches.
I want one of those pins.
Friday. Yeah.
I would love to get one of those pins.
There you go. That's true.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. We have more news after the break. 3 police officers remain in hospital with serious wounds after an exchange of gunfire outside a bank in Saskatchewan, BC yesterday. A total of 6 officers were shot after confronting 2 suspected thieves at the bank. Both suspects were shot and killed.
Oh my God, holy dude. Oh my God. We are witnessing a bank robbery.
Holy
This video is from bystanders who were parked across the street. Police were called when 2 armed men entered a bank yesterday morning. The shootout began when they left the building. Police had been searching for a 3rd potential suspect, but said late yesterday there was no indication that was the case. Rising grocery bills have some people turning to growing their own food to help lower costs and CO2 emissions and keep healthy vegetables on the table. But as Evan Dyer reports, home gardeners are questioning the tax they have to pay on their seeds and seedlings.
Nicola Moore of Hamilton says it was the pandemic that got her started.
I wasn't sure how I was going to feed my family breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. And so I thought, how can I help my family? And that began my love for gardening.
She grows food mostly from seeds and a bit from seedlings. And in both cases, she pays sales tax.
You can see the seeds are starting to mature in the seed pod here.
Catherine Wallenberg set up her farm to produce seeds she sells to home growers.
And I was quite surprised actually to find out that it was a taxable product. To me, it just seems to say that it's considered a hobby to grow food because the same produce, the same lettuce, once grown out, would not be taxed.
In fact, none of the fruit and vegetables sold in supermarkets pay any sales tax, even when they come from halfway around the world.
It's a shame that it's not incentivized to be growing and eating more local, and there isn't really more local than straight from your garden.
The government's carbon tax regime encourages people to shrink their carbon footprint, but sales taxes on food do the opposite.
There's no carbon footprint when I am going over to my garden and putting the seeds in. Imagine a truck or trucks or fleets driving from California over to Ontario.
Food prices are rising fast with inflation, and supply chain delays have also affected freshness, a phenomenon known as shelflation. For Moore, that's just another reason to grow for herself.
I feel like I have a great green thumb now. It's been 2 years of steady learning, gardening, researching.
The federal government has dropped some other sales taxes to encourage people to do certain things, most recently on COVID masks. But when we asked the Department of Finance if they were looking at changing this, they told us there are no plans in the works. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Farrelton, Quebec.
And Ethan is back with an update on that severe weather rolling through the province.
Yeah, and lots of severe cells at this hour, Sam, still rolling through much of the province, the most severe in the eastern sections. Good news, though, this cell, which was tornado warned, which just crossed the number 6 highway southeast of Raymore, is no longer tornado warned, but there is still a severe thunderstorm warning on it, and that tornado warning could pop up again, so be aware of that. A new tornado warning now just along the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border east of Priestville. This is for the arm of Livingston. We have a couple of cells here which could be producing a tornado for those folks just across the border in Swan River. Just a heads up to you that that cell is heading your way. And a reminder, numerous severe thunderstorm and tornado watches in effect this evening, Sam. So those will likely die off as we go through the evening hours, but just a heads up to everyone to keep an eye on the weather conditions tonight.
All right. Thanks so much for this, Ethan.
You're welcome.
All right, that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, cbc.ca/sask, or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Glenn Reed will be back with more local news, and Ethan will have more weather at 11. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.